Blockbusters Podcast, episode 31. My name is Paul.
I'm Brian.
Today is January 22nd, 2014. Who'd have thought we'd have lasted this long?
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
Given this cost us virtually nothing to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Today we are going to be talking about Wolf of Wall Street. And going into the very basics of that, here we got the director, which is... Anyone listening to this probably knows the director, Mr. Yes,
Penny Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Penny Marshall.
Mr. Martin Scorsese, of course.
That was my next guess.
Yes. The budget being $100 million, and as of the 20th, it has made $168,242,021.
Hey.
A nice little
I think we can take credit for that $21.
Yes, we could. That's not including any snack sales.
No.
All right, so would you like to give the synopsis for this one?
Yeah, it's pretty much Goodfellas and Casino without the violence. It's hedonism, it's excess. I guess Jordan. I'm actually not looking off of IMDb this time, guys.
Yeah,
I'm just winging it.
Yeah. Let us know how that works out.
Yeah, probably poorly, and this will be the last time I do it.
Yeah.
But young upstart Jordan Belfort, very ambitious, wants to be rich or whatever, and always looking for a way up, and to starts his own stock trading company.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That's how.
Yeah,
informed I am of what those,
That is what the company does. So
so they sell stocks but not quite in a legal fashion. And
there's nothing technically illegal about the specifics of what they do.
No, just the practices there, yeah. But, he starts as, what is it called, Stratford Belmont?
Yes.
Something of this sort.
Yeah, I probably should have written that down.
Yes. Yeah.
He might be going back on his promise not to use IMDb at this point.
Oh, what is this site I found? No, yeah, but it's based on a true story, of course. Wealthy stockbroker living the high life to his fall involving crime, corruption, and the federal government.
Yes. So I think that was the last thing there you did miss out, the federal government.
Federal government, little involved. But it's pretty much 3 hours of partying and drug use and sex, and then the heat starts to come down on him. Which makes for a great movie, in my mind.
Yes, it's not just 3 hours of some guy getting everything he wants, and that's the end of it.
No. There are, some complications along the way, and it's obviously thoroughly, enjoyable to see that. And everyone, even if you didn't know it was a true story, the format of those movies. It's not a happily ever after kind of story.
Yes, it's kind of Scarface without the ultimate ending, really.
Yeah, the sky is going to fall at some point. This isn't going to last forever. Even if he didn't get caught, he'd be killed by the drugs sooner or later. So, all right, that's kind of what the movie was about.
Yeah, as you followed that's the film.
I didn't. Yeah. I said it.
All right. So, cast then. In the lead role of Jordan Belfort, you've got Leonardo DiCaprio, who, obviously at the time of this recording and for a little while after, the Oscars aren't happening yet, but he really should win an Oscar this time.
I think so. And just for his physicality.
Yeah.
Not even the performances with the microphone. The whole, I'm sure we will get to it a little later, the whole Quaalude scene.
Yes.
That is Oscar-worthy right there.
Yes. Lovely scene. So, as you said, we'll get back to that, so more on that later. Jonah Hill as Donnie Azoff? I actually can't remember how you pronounce that last name.
Heffa. That's Heffa.
There we go.
This is called Heffa.
Margot Robbie, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it.
His second wife and my future wife.
Naomi
Paglia.
And then Belfort, obviously, and then may as well spoiler at the end. Not necessarily at the end of the film. Is no longer a Belfort, but there we go. Kyle Chandler as the FBI agent Patrick Denham, which apparently based off of a real FBI guy called Greg.
Greg. Good guy, Greg. I know him again. I know Greg.
Lovely guy.
He was also, I just want to say, if Super 8, he was the cop dad in Super 8.
Yeah, my co-host mentioned that to me just before we started recording, and it was one of those, oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that was like his first like notable thing he did. But yeah, it seems like he's been in like 10 movies this year, so I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know. Things are coming along for Mr. Chandler.
I've seen the name pop up every now and again.
Yes, and then who else do you have there, sir?
Rob Reiner as Max Belfort.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely performance.
Yes.
The good Jon Favreau as Manny Riskin. Yes, moving on from his Iron Man days now.
Yes. Pretty much the same role, though.
Yeah, same role.
But
it's not Iron Man, so there we go.
No.
Yeah, they should have.
Apparently, Tony's fired him and Jordan hired him. I don't know.
They should have given him the same name. Like, they really should have.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey as Mark Hanna.
As chest beater number 1.
Yes, indeed. And got 2 more. John Bernthal.
John Bernthal, yeah.
As Brad, a.k.a. pretty much the same guy as he is in Walking Dead, just doing stock stuff. Right?
less mustache in Walking Dead.
Yeah,
and any spoilers for Walking Dead, I just won't finish that sentence.
Actually, I would disagree depending on the spoiler because I don't want.
Well, I don't know. I hate spoilers, so you know. Especially when you're not thinking it's Wolf of Wall Street spoilers, and then you're like, "Holy shit! I'm meaning to binge watch, Walking Dead at here some point." What the hell are you waiting on?
Yeah.
All right, everyone dies. Spoiler alert: everyone dies. No, just kidding.
No, that's a different show, isn't it?
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
The dragons will almost turn up, and then they die.
Anyone else there?
Well, talking about spoilers very quickly, then I recently saw a little clip of Jennifer Lawrence actually on the red carpet talking to someone who I believe is either in Justified or one of those shows, and the person interviewing her, upon being told that she's only watched season 2, promptly spoils the end of season 3 with the star of the show telling the interviewer, no, don't.
Wow.
She ends up just kind of walking off at the end of it. So, bit of a shame.
Poor thing.
Yeah, exactly. Don't spoil people. And then...
Yes, that's our job.
And then got Jean Dujardin as Swiss Guy.
Swiss Guy.
Yes, Swiss Guy.
Also, yes, from The Artist. Wonderful performance in The Artist.
I didn't bother writing down that character's name because I didn't remember it.
The Swiss Guy. I mean, you know who we mean.
The Swiss Guy. There is one Swiss guy.
Yes, Swiss banker guy.
There we go.
If we want to pin it down a little more.
Yeah. Alright, well that's all I've got written down. Was there anyone else?
Thanks, folks.
Yeah, no, see you next time. Alright, so were there any other people that you wanted to...
No, I'm good.
Alright.
I'll probably think of one later, but I'm good.
So, where do you want to start with this film?
Well, first of all, I guess overall impressions of...
Alright, yeah, I
the
can
film,
do that.
just...
Well, I will say, going into it with, obviously comparing it to previous Scorsese work, I think that this film isn't as good as The Departed, but has some better acting in it. If you get what I'm going with there. I didn't get into this film as much as I did with The Departed, but obviously Leo in it is just fantastic, and I actually enjoyed Jonah Hill in this. I don't normally like Jonah Hill, but
Django being an exception, I think.
yes.
Come on.
But yeah, this film I think he did really well in it. I don't know.
He carried all of his scenes very well. I mean, he could have easily been out-acted, I guess you could say, but I don't think he was in the slightest.
No, I know some people might even say that he was overacting himself, but I think that...
Well, those are the characters.
Yeah, exactly. He probably, looking at the character and seeing everything, I'm sure he even brought a couple of his own things into it, and it was enjoyable to see him on the screen, rather than... I think I tried to watch, 21 Jump Street? Or something.
Oh, yeah?
I tried to watch
I actually
that.
enjoyed that.
But... I mean, I never watched the show. So I didn't.
I mean, I wasn't a big, but I did enjoy that.
I was trying to watch it, and I just couldn't get into that myself. So maybe having watched this and liking Jonah Hill, it might not have been Jonah Hill. In that, it could just have been.
I don't know. Maybe it was Channing.
Facility,
I don't know. It's Channing Tatum. It was the Gimp's fault.
But yeah, so I mean, it's a very solid film. Although I would say, obviously, it now holds the world record for the most number of F-bombs in the.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah,
it beat Scarface.
It beat Scarface.
Wow.
It has just under 600.
Wow.
Uses of the word fuck.
All right. Folks, drinking games, drink every time they say fuck, and you'll be dead by the fifth reel.
Yes. I mean, I was thinking, I got that was the time and this was how these people talk, but I was kind of feeling by the halfway point that they are kind of using this swearing as almost a crutch in the film. It's like, this guy is using all these swearers in most of the sentences that he's uttering. And maybe that's the point.
Maybe they were actually being true to who these people were.
I think it is stated, obviously he becomes an official stockbroker. He goes to school and he does that. But I always got the feeling that he wasn't necessarily the best educated guy. He was...
No, he just knew people and knew how to manipulate. And,
So maybe I wasn't reading it right. Of all the swearing was him covering up for not being able to articulate further.
I mean, it was just white noise too. It didn't bother me. But
that's the thing. The swearing didn't bother me. It just seemed like, because there was so much, it's like, maybe they're kind of leaning on this a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe shock value for the people that are influenced by that. I think I said in the Christmas special that they cut 3 minutes of sex and maybe more swearing. I don't know. I'm sure the count would have been a lot higher had they left those in. But yeah, it did kind of seem as though Martin Scorsese wanted to do a film to almost see what he could get away with. There's so much in there. I know that my wife wouldn't have liked the film per se, probably because of the amount of nudity and swearing in it.
Ironically, one of the reasons I did like the
film. That's the thing. Obviously, everyone's going to go in.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. Yep. I couldn't care less about the nudity or the swearing. Up to a point. Obviously, if it was just everyone walking around naked but delivering the lines, that might be going a little...
That's called a different kind of film.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
But yeah, so I can't really knock the film overall, short of, I think I noticed one little continuity thing at one point, but again, it's...
I mean, running time as well, I thought it moved pretty fast for being a 3-hour film.
Yeah, it really did. It was able
There were really no down parts.
It was able to cycle through each section of his life fairly well, and the only times it ever really slowed down was when he did, like when he took the time talking to people, which is a good thing about the film, is that it had the dialogue there and it didn't seem to shy away from dialogue to put other things in. There were several scenes where it was just them talking and talking and talking. Yeah,
it wasn't a non-stop.
But it wasn't
cars.
It wasn't too heavy, and it didn't leave you feeling like stop talking.
There were no scenes that were like, okay, this scene needs to end now. Get back to the boobs and the fast cars.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure there were a few people that saying that, but I wasn't one of them. Like, I was entertained the whole time.
Yeah.
I actually asked a coworker who had seen it and I had not. I said, 3-hour film. I usually have to go to the bathroom movie. When's a good time? Like, he's like, don't go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
He's like, even if it's going to be a minute and 2 minutes you miss, he's like, that's going to be 2 minutes you will really miss. Yeah. So, like, all right.
I would say the one and only time that you could go, let's say you have someone else with you, that you could go and not miss a lot, but it is still kind of important, would be when the FBI guys turn up on the boat.
Oh.
Like that whole bit when they turn up is like that's pretty much your only reprieve if you're going to go and see this.
Well, because you just know how that scene's going to go anyway.
Yeah.
Like they're feeling each other out, and there's going to be threats, and yeah. And you may miss later when, like, you tried to bribe a federal officer? Yeah, like, well, then you would be informed that's what happened. But, yeah.
Yeah, I did like the whole idea he had in his head of, like, I didn't specify an amount.
He knew the law.
Yes, no amount was uttered, therefore it cannot be considered a bribe in court. I'd love to know if that is a thing. Like, it only is a bribe if something definitive is there.
Yeah. Well, it's in a movie, so it has to be true, Paul.
Yeah,
Don't you know that? They wouldn't lie to us.
Especially based on a real...
Exactly. They would not lie to us. They have more responsibility than that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and what was your general take on the film?
My
then?
general take is I really enjoyed it. I thought I would, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected to. And, I mean, I've been a huge fan of Scorsese my entire time I've been interested in film or just been enraptured by film.
Yeah.
And gone back and watched all of his old stuff, watched Mean Streets and Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore and The Hours and like all the old stuff in the 70s, Taxi Driver and all this stuff. And I've loved everything. 70s, I think, some of his best work. And then, early 80s, Raging Bull and all of that. And, up to, 90s and Goodfellas and Casino and Gangs of New York. I mean, I've loved pretty much, I don't know if there's like, Gangs of New York is maybe my least favorite, but it's still one of my favorite movies. On a pecking order, it's maybe lower in his body of work. But I know I'm gonna get a good product.
Yeah.
So I think this is perhaps maybe his most stylized, I think, film.
Yeah.
Flashy. I mean, that's the world they live in.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, the 80s, greed and excess and all that stuff. But I did think it had a certain flair to it that his other films don't have. That usually when you think Scorsese, you think gritty. Those are the gritty, dark, or
Yeah, it's the dull tones and everything.
Departed very gritty, very sketchy, and that's just the story.
Yeah.
But that's how it's also filmed. And this is very
vibrant.
Flashy, very it's vibrant, great word. And I did like seeing that from him. And I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of replay value with this movie because it's a journey that once you get to the end, you've gone on that journey, and I don't know if you want to see that character go through it again. I mean, I most certainly will buy it. I'm saying let's not get crazy here, but I don't know. There's certain films of his I can watch over and over, and I don't know if this will necessarily be one of those.
I can see exactly what you mean with it, and you've gone through the journey, and I think a big thing about this film is half of the drama comes from the fact that you really don't know when it's going to crash. I mean, obviously, looking at the running time,
if you haven't done any research into the real guy or the real situation, then you don't exactly know what's going to happen. You don't know if he's going to go to jail. You don't know if he's going to live or die. You don't know if any one of these characters is going to live or die. So, I mean, once you've been through that, then you know. And you can enjoy it then as just the hedonistic fest it is.
Exactly. I was going to say, the second time viewing is probably, I would argue, mostly male viewers.
Yes.
And I'm sure I could watch it again a second time just as a film studies guy wanting to see all the stuff that you missed the first time.
Exactly, yeah.
Actually looking at the details and all that stuff.
But being emotionally invested in the story at that time again, I don't think so. But
I mean, I don't know how emotionally invested I was in the film the first time. Maybe because I personally couldn't relate to the characters. Mm-hmm. So it was more along the lines of, say, almost watching TV in that respect of I'm just following this story.
Yeah.
I'm not with the character. I'm just following it and trying to. Half the time I was trying to think, okay, how is he going to react to this? I think I have an idea of the character, so what's going to come up and how it's going to go. But yeah, I don't think this will be something that I watch a second time unless maybe I'll borrow it from you and watch it with the commentary.
Scorsese usually does not do commentary.
Someone's got to do a commentary.
Yeah, well, someone will. I'm sure they'll have a cast or writers or something. But
and it would be great to have a Leonardo DiCaprio commentary.
I doubt that. You might be dreaming there, sir. But...
I know. Well, especially since apparently Jonah Hill announced last week that he earned $60,000 for his role in this film.
Really?
Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio, $10 million. It's one of those things of I wonder if he went in for a cut of the profit, maybe a 0.1% thing or something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's something in the deal.
Because there's normally if you get someone that signs on for a lot lower, they have something out the end of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I found it odd that he only got 60,000.
Or he'll be involved in the next project or whatever, something like that.
Go. That could be something.
Who knows?
Else, yeah.
Yes. DVD sales, Blu-ray sales.
Yeah, I didn't look too far into the article. I just saw the numbers and I was like, oh, that'll be something interesting.
$60,000, yeah. couldn't even buy one of the cars that Jordan drove in the movie.
Maybe you could buy the car he was driving at the beginning.
No, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Or a golf cart. I don't know.
Both.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there we are. There was a golf cart in there, wasn't there? Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Somewhere.
I have to say, if I was still living in England, if I had a large amount of money and not sure what to do with it, I would buy myself what's called a milk float. It's one of those things, normally a battery-operated vehicle, it can only go up to like 7 miles an hour. Just like deck it out a little bit. I always wanted one of my friends to get one, and then we put fake bars in and get driven into school like rattling.
Oh, nice.
But unfortunately, they decided that they didn't want to do that.
So, too bad.
So my dream, until I become a millionaire and I'm able to ship one over here and get it sorted out.
Well, good luck with that.
Yes.
I did another thing I wanted to point out is that I don't know how you feel about this, but it seems like it's been a growing trend maybe in the past 10, 15 years of film. But the anti-hero movies. Yeah. I'm a big fan of. I really usually like that. Where it's actually you're rooting for the guy, but he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or he's maybe not a bad guy, but doing bad things and being selfish, or being like TV show like Dexter or whatever. He's a serial killer, but you like him because he's killing the bad people.
Yeah. He's doing bad things for the right reason.
Or going way back to another Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Catch Me If You Can. He's fraud. All this fraud, and just to live his own adventure and go on, around the world, but he is, being a criminal.
Yeah. It's one of those things of, especially with that particular film, he wants to just live a nice life. He just wants to be able to go through life without worrying too much about what's going to happen to him. And obviously he does the wrong thing about that, but because that's so relatable, that's why you end up liking the guy. And with this particular film, very much just anti-hero, and there's not too much.
There aren't too many redeeming qualities. No.
I mean, the only thing you could say that would be really redeeming is the fact that he clearly loves his daughter because he doesn't want to let her go at the end. But you never see any other scenes of him being with the daughter, so it's like it almost feels like when that scene just kind of pops up at the end of like, rather than him liking being a father, is him trying to gain a piece of that life and just leave with it.
Well, I just think so. Like, I'm a man. You're not going to take what's mine. It doesn't matter that's a flesh and blood person, but it's just one of my other possessions. And you're not going to take any of my shit.
Yeah. Well, even though a couple of times in the film, there are the odd hints here and there that he does enjoy being a family guy. He just loves money more, I guess. One of those real anti-heroes.
Well, like the opening, where he says, like the best drug of all, or his money, or his favorite drug.
Yeah. Drug of choice.
Drug of choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shall we talk a little bit about the drug use then? Obviously, leading up to.
Yes.
The one particular
scene. I'm sure. Yes, that everyone has talked about if you've seen it.
Right. All right. So. In this film, obviously, there is a considerable amount of drug use.
Yes.
And it's one of those ones where I think it's the more realistic showing of what that can do to you. I mean, they have all of these people where they take cocaine in the stock market so that they can be wired at the time they need to be wired.
Yeah.
And obviously this then becomes a habit for them, and that's how they get into it.
Well, yeah. Well, with the Matthew McConaughey character, who is just in it very briefly.
Yeah.
But, he's kind of the mentor. They're initially saying, hey, this is how this world works. You got to have this, holding up a little vial, you got to have this guy, to do this job. And that's what he was taught,
exactly.
essentially,
And pretty much everything he's told by that guy, he ends up turning it around and telling other people, and that's how that all works. So it goes from that, like seeing him with the cocaine, and then you basically find out that he's taking something called how is it?
Quaaludes.
Quaaludes, that's it. I was going to say Quaaludes, wasn't it? Which
were big in the 70s.
What exactly
and 80s.
Is it?
It was actually, like it said in the movie, it was actually intended to be like a sleeping pill.
Yeah, and I'd never heard of it before seeing this film. It wasn't.
I mean, it's been off the market for like 20-some years or whatever, but
But it's one of those things that I don't think I've ever seen another film where even with drugs
if you've seen Almost Famous, Kate Hudson's character almost ODs from Quaaludes. They come in and pump her stomach. She's like, she's on Ludes, or I think,
It's been a while, so it's probably
but that was like my first. And I had no idea what they were when I saw that film, and then I've known, since then. But
Right.
yeah, so yeah, it was like a sleeping drug, and like they say in the film, if you fight there to sleep for about 15 minutes or so, then you get an incredible high from it.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where you start to see every character taking more and more, and it affecting them more and more, which is something you don't see a lot of in these films. You either see the fact that they're taking a lot.
Oh yeah, he gives his like drug schedule where he's like, I take one at this time, and then I take one here, and then I take a couple more to this time of day, a couple for dinner, or whatever it is,
So and the films where you see them just taking a lot of drugs, like let's say Scarface, for instance, you don't really see a lot of him needing any drugs at all times. It's just sort of cocaine, sniff. Cocaine, sniff,
you don't see a lot of drug behavior. Like one of the Well, yeah, you just assume, okay, the character did drugs, so now he's on drugs, but you don't see him acting like he is on drugs.
Whereas in this film, there's clearly moments where these people are off their tits, as it were.
On the plane, or for one, where he like wakes up restrained.
I had to say the most shocking thing in the entire film for me wasn't what most people probably think it is. It's the scene where you first meet, Naomi, and Jordan's talking to her, and the wife sends Donnie's wife in to get him away from her, and you then turn around and Donnie's got his junk out. It's like, wow, okay.
Yes.
It was one of the things of you see him from the waist up, jerking his arms, and it's like, okay, we know exactly what's going on. And then when they react and then it cuts back to him, it's like, oh, okay.
That was great, though. He's like, oh, she's too damn hot. Like, I got to do this right now. Yeah. Love that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, and it was the one bit in the film where I thought, wow, naked women, whatever, that's some film stuff, and you see Leonardo DiCaprio's backside as well, and it is just like, I'm going to assume a prosthetic. Just for the sake of my own sanity, I'm going to assume that it was a prosthetic, because it did just kind of seem like flop, flop, flop. So, I know.
All right.
He gets, unfortunate term phrase, tackled to the ground. So, So it's one of those things of like, I also think for his safety that had to happen, because imagine getting tackled to the ground and that
not
going
dangerous.
badly,
or not dangerous at all. Yeah, I said sarcastically. Yeah, that sounds fun.
So you see all of this effect, and then what is it? Gotta be in the last quarter of the film is when I'd say a good more than 2/3 way through the film. So they end up getting a hold of, and this is. Donnie gets a hold of it, and it's clearly because he knows he's messed up. So he's got this thing.
The holy grail of Quaaludes, the lemons.
The lemons, the one from the original run or whatever it was.
Whatever, super strong
So of course they take, I think it's 3.
I thought they took 2 or something. I don't know.
They took 1 to begin with. They then took another one, and I think Jordan actually took 2.
They took 2 more or something.
They take a lot, and then you get to see the delayed effect when he's talking to his father at a payphone a mile down the road.
Yeah, at the country club. Yeah.
When all of a sudden he can't quite speak.
And he's lost all of his motor skills.
Yeah, he just kind of goes down.
Yeah, he just gets a stroke face pretty much.
Yes. What was the he said that he skipped straight over the 2 normal phases and went to the end one, and then ended up in a completely new phase, the cerebral palsy phase.
Cerebral palsy is just on the ground, which it shouldn't be funny, but it is. He's just laying there twitching.
It leads to probably the best moment in the film, where he realizes that he has to get home.
Yeah, and has to get to the car. Yeah.
So he...
Yep, walking's out.
Yeah, walking's out. So he then crawls to the car.
And rolls down the stairs. I love how that was shot, though. How from his perspective, it's like 1,000 stairs or 100 stairs, whatever. And then really it's like 4.
Yeah.
4.
And then, of course, my favorite bit, hand down, is just when he gets to the car. Mm-hmm. He eventually gets that door open without it shutting down on him. And then the phone rings. So you just see this, okay.
You just see legs. Yeah.
Sort of curls around, and then legs sticking out the car as he's talking on the phone. And you hear, at this point, the reason he had to talk to his dad on the phone is his dad knows the FBI is now bugging the house because of all of this illegal stuff he's been doing. And his wife on the phone is telling him that his Swiss bank guy is on the phone waiting to talk to him about these Swiss bank accounts.
Yeah.
And all you see is his legs just twitching as he's just going,
oh, yeah, Donnie. Yeah, Donnie's talking.
And it's like Donnie's talking to the guy. And all he's saying is, get off the phone. And he says it, I think, get him off the phone. And it's 3 times. And you hear him getting more stressed each time. But you can't make out any of the words.
You can kind of tell, yeah.
And then him crying as he realizes, okay, I'll be there in a minute.
Yeah.
And that entire scene is just, that's why he should win an Oscar this year.
That is, I agree 100% Oscar worthy right there. And then the reveal of, I got, got home safe, didn't even get a scratch on my right. And then,
it was a mile as slowly as he could.
Yeah.
Like, didn't get a scratch on the car, and then the next morning when he's arrested and taken outside,
it is completely totaled Lamborghini. And then the replay of that scene, just backing up, smash, pulling forward, smash, running over a sign, running to the ditch, smash. Oh.
Yeah, it's something that I don't think is used enough in film, which is like they'll show a scene and then a quick cut back to like, actually this is what happened, or a retelling of the scene. Like the only other time I can think of it off the top of my head right now is Ocean's 11. The idea of you saw how that played out, and then you think it's all done, and then you actually see how it really played out. Like, it's one of those things that is actually a really good narrative tool. It lets you tell 2 stories for the price of one, as it were.
Exactly.
And it gives you the extra time that this film really needed to tell this stuff. Yeah, 3 hours. I mean, I understand that there's a lot to tell. Do you feel that this film could have been shortened at all?
I don't know what I would take out of it. I really don't.
Yeah,
and I don't mind 3-hour films if I'm entertained, and I was.
I mean, that's the thing. I didn't mind 3-hour films. It's just one of those things of, I'm thinking this film is going to be one of those ones where probably just going to be a film that people that like Leonardo DiCaprio go and see, people that like Martin Scorsese go and see, and then people that need to see every Oscar film go and see. I think this is definitely going to be not a cult classic. It obviously has made a lot of money and it's done well, but I think this is going to be one of those very slim audience range, as it were. I don't see your average mum and dad with 2 kids walking down the film.
Well, I do think it's like a couples. I do think, I see the boyfriend dragging the girlfriend in because he went and saw the chick flicks, so now she's got to go watch this.
I mean, could actually be used as a revenge film. Really. If you really hated that, I don't know, Love Actually or whatever, just pick a random romantic film. You hated that. Yeah, take her to see this and I think you're even. This was definitely a film that I went into knowing it was long, and I didn't feel watching it that it was that long. But like looking back on it now, thinking about it, there were definitely a lot of scenes, and I was thinking maybe cutting down here and there on a little. No, I don't want to cut out the talking.
The first wife, or the little less of the...
Yeah.
I think that's doomed anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, a little less of the first wife. I can understand why she's in there so much, because then you are supposed to feel that he's a complete arsehole for doing what he did. The problem is, by the time she finds out that he's been doing what he did, he's been doing it for so long that you genuinely don't care anymore about that.
True.
And you know that he's going to get out of it. So, yeah, I mean, maybe cut down a little bit on that. And I would have liked to have seen, this might have actually added time, but I would like to have seen his mentor somehow come back.
Oh, McConaughey. I was always expecting him to reach out to McConaughey at some point when he was in trouble,
Well, and even when he said he got a bunch of people that he knew down, I figured he would ask him down, because, I'm now starting this up. Why don't you come down? But, and they never explained what he did after that. Everyone he knew in that office, like, they don't touch on any of them ever again. Huh.
I don't know.
That's odd. I figured he would have said something like, obviously after the crash, and then he started this stuff, and maybe even I tried to reach whatever, but now he's doing this. Like, but nothing.
I was okay without the information. And you said I thought you were going to say something different, but when you said it was going to add time, I would have liked to. I don't know how it would have worked in this style of film, but I would have liked to have seen some of the scenes of the people that are being used.
Oh, so
because it's all one-sided. You just, these poor schmucks are just getting taken advantage of, and they're just living it up with their money. Yeah, which they did, and I told Paul I was going to bring this up. There was a early film that was much the same story called Boiler Room. One of the few Vin Diesel films I can tolerate. And Ben Affleck or whatever, but in Giovanni Ribisi, it's in a stock trading company, and they're doing not so cool practices, right. And the whole sky falling thing, government investigation, all going down. But they do show like the phone calls of people losing their homes, or right. like just not being able to make their payments on whatever, just because this guy fucked them over. Right. And like, what are you going to do? And they're just like, sorry. We're assholes, But I don't know how that would have worked in this film. Maybe I'm asking for something that could have been done.
Well, if you think about it that way...
It would break up, I don't know, the energy, maybe too much of the film.
Maybe a little, although I could see it having been shown silently over... under a voiceover.
The main reason I want to see is that to see Leonardo, Jordan, I guess, his conscience tested. No, we know he's a self-centered, selfish asshole. Right. But to see that tested against someone that's he's truly fucked over. Yeah. To see if that affects him at all, if he has a heart or not.
Or it could have been showing here's a mashing of wealth, juxtaposing it against obviously it would all be narrated by Leonardo talking about how he's gaining more and more money, and you see these people losing their money or whatever, and then maybe even seeing the last one of that being someone going to the FBI. Like, not even necessarily talking to the guy, but going to the building to say something. So you clearly see this one here was his downfall. This is what specifically sparked it. As opposed to just, him doing everything he did, then the FBI turned up. It's like, how did the FBI exactly start in on this? You do see it early on, I think. It's just as it's really starting to take off for them, I think.
I think the Steve Madden IPO was like a big red flag. Obviously, like they made so much money off of that.
Yeah, I did like that. Halfway through the film, he finally says, "You know what? You're not following all of this, are you?" It's like,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
What does matter is $65 million in 3 years. That was... I did like the line that he had when he's... I think it's in all the trailers as well. The idea of, last year I made $49 million, which really pissed me off because it was 3 million shy of one a week.
1 million a week, yeah. It really pissed me off.
Yeah. Which is good.
I did want to say also, along with the Quaalude scene, which I think will be his "you talking to me" scene for the rest of his life. Like that scene you identify with this actor. Like, I think that's going to live on in infamy. But along with that scene that should give him an Oscar, I think any time you see him controlling that room with the microphone, it is captivating. I cannot imagine. If anyone got up to leave, to go to the bathroom, I would have screamed out, "Sit the hell down! What the hell? Do you not care?" He so has control of that room, and you see how everyone loves him and respects him, and he just... the energy he brings, and he's screaming and yelling and getting them excited, and then turns them loose. Start dialing those, dial those phones. Don't think no. His speeches are just incredible. I mean, credit the writing, but also the performance. My god!
I have to wonder if they went to the guy or whoever wrote the book with the guy, whatever, and asked him, could you give us as much as possible the sorts of things you were saying, to go off that? I mean, you never know. There could be one speech in there where that was him. This was what he did. And I'd love to see, I'm sure... I say that, no, I'm probably wrong. I'm sure that they're going to put something on the DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, where it will be kind of, this is actually what happened to the guy. This is most of
a trivia track or something like that, perhaps.
And then maybe showing, here's this scene, and here was how it actually went down, or something, showing those two different things. Because I do think that in this day and age, you get all of these based on a true story.
Yeah.
And then everyone sees that and just goes, obviously this will be slightly embellished, but this is meant to be what happened. And then, of course, I can't have any examples off the top of my head, but there have been films that I know of that were based on a true story, And the way they were based on a true story was someone read this thing that happened. They then took that idea and wrote a film, and that's what you're seeing. It's like there's no real basis in it. And I do think that in this, short of the name changes and a fair
I think
bit
Argo would fall on that line because there are so many inaccuracies in Argo about that whole situation. But it takes the Iranian hostage crisis. Yeah. And then it's meant to entertain you. That's what the films are for. Most of them.
Well, especially, what was it, the end of Argo where they're taking off on the plane just as the guys are...
Oh, yeah, it never happened. No, they stayed in separate houses, and, there were characters not even in the film that had big parts, you know.
The worst thing for me about that film was that whole getaway thing. I read somewhere, they were at home, they got home, and 3 weeks later... was when the people that were there were storming the houses there and saying, like, where are these guys?
Well, that doesn't make for a very tense scene. Like, knock, knock. Are they still... No, they left 3 weeks ago? Okay. Yeah. Roll credits.
Yeah.
That being said, I love Argo, but I was just pointing out, like, one of those based on true story things where you have to really... take that based to heart. Exactly. And not the true part.
Which is why I'm always interested in the films that do based on true story and try and give you some actual consistency in there. I want to see exactly how much it works.
I think Apollo 13 is probably the closest that I can think of right now that is historically accurate to a T.
Probably because of how much that thing was recorded.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they had all the transcripts of the conversations, and Lovell working on the film, and so that's and they really wanted to get that right to honor, everyone involved. But
I'd like to think that they didn't want to get this right to honor the guy.
No, you don't really want to honor that, honor that behavior. But I mean, who's to say what each of us would do if we had millions and millions of dollars? Are we going to give it to charity, or are we going to have some fun?
I can honestly say that I would probably not give any money to charity. I could also honestly say that I probably wouldn't go on a drug and hooker bender.
Well, but everyone has their drug and hookers. It just may not be drugs and hookers. They're vices, whatever. You would buy films or TVs or games or
exactly.
Your addictions.
The great Bender line in Futurama was like, Brian, I'm just going to create my own theme park with hookers and blackjack. In fact, forget the blackjack.
Forget the blackjack. Just get in the way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just definitely one of those films where obviously it's a stylized telling of the thing, which I would expect from Scorsese. I wouldn't expect him to just go, this is what happened.
This has happened, and this happened, then this happened. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously
and then he got caught.
Leo was able to give a fantastic performance in it. And it can almost be seen as this is going into school PSA mode. This can be seen as a warning to people. There are severe consequences to all.
Well, with jumping back to that Quaalude scene again, I do like that so many times you see in films where the heroes or the stars of the film, whatever, are driving drunk or driving high or whatever, and they do get away with it, and they are fine, and nothing happens, and then they show a totaled $200,000 car. Like, this is what really happens when you drive when you're like that.
And he does, I believe...
Granted, that's to an extreme. Like, he wasn't even able to walk, but somehow he drove home.
That being the thing, he shouldn't have been able to operate that car anyway.
He shouldn't have made it 10 feet out of the driveway. But
artistic license.
Yes, all that.
But I think you even get the line where he does say, like, holy shit.
Well, a tiny maybe bit of a wake-up call, but not really. Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. This guy, no matter what happened to him, it didn't put him off. It just made him more determined not to get caught.
I know this is like, jumping back, like, true story, but when Donnie is choking on the ham or whatever, I didn't know this is a true story, and I thought he was going to die. Right. And I thought that would be the turner. Like, this is what's going to snap him out of, ooh, I got to stop fucking around and grow up. Right. My friend just died.
All right, well, given his personality,
I think maybe that's what he could have needed.
Well, I could see that, but then I could also see that would not only cause him to try and get Donnie's shares for himself.
Yeah, or it would just lead him further down that drug path, like console himself with the drugs.
Now he needs more just to be able to keep going.
Yeah. I don't know. Yes, it was doomed from the get-go, but fun to watch.
Yeah, I did.
Not my life.
I did like. It was kind of almost a random moment just to have in the film as well. I did like the bit that they call his wake-up call, where he looks out the window of the boat that saved them from the boat. Yeah. And he sees the plane that he called to come get them just explode.
Yeah. That was so just brushed over. Yeah. And all those people died. Okay, moving along with my drugs.
Yeah. That's the thing. And you even see his reaction. It's just kind of, did you? Anyone?
Like, I would have liked to see a scene where he, like, called for the plane.
Yeah.
So then you see that plane, and then you don't need the explanation.
Yeah. And
I would like to see that preempted, not after the fact.
Well, that's the thing. You'd like to be able to follow with him what happens, rather than you see his reaction and then it's like, oh, that's why he reacted that way? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you would, I guess, I didn't really think about that, but that, I guess, is one thing I would change with the script is, because then once you see that plane explode, you would immediately know what happened. Yeah. Like, oh my god, that's the plane he called. That just blew up, yeah. I
know, I didn't get some of those decisions. I mean, I understand that maybe they didn't want to have a button on the nose of him calling to say, all this, and maybe...
Or even just him yelling quickly, call for the plane that is in this area, just... when they're panicked, or Donnie called okay.
What was I going to say on that? Oh yeah, like that whole scene was kind of surreal because it's like you see the boat kind of go down on the sea, and then it cuts to the wives are dancing with some sailors, and they're in a ship that they got picked up in.
I just love him sending. What was it? Then he said Donnie down to get the Quaaludes, or was it or was it?
No, it was
Donnie.
It was Donnie. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's like, I'm not going to die sober.
Yeah.
I love
that. Yeah, that whole thing was just like, I'm here for you, baby. Get the drugs.
He's like, there's 3 feet of water. Get the drugs. Down there. Yeah.
And of course, it then just had that great thing of he finally gets back, like, I've got them, and then just, oh shit.
I did want to ask, throwing a curve, what did you think of the narration?
I enjoyed the narration, but that was another sort of crutch I felt they had. There was.
Do you think it was used too much? Okay.
Narration. I do think
I did like all of it. I will say.
Yeah, I can't say the narration was bad. Because it was good and everything. I mean, I thought that maybe...
I think it was really needed. I don't know. Because you need to hear his perspective because he's such a liar and manipulator. Yeah. You would never know what he truly believes if he doesn't break that fourth wall and talk to you. Yeah. And say, this is what I'm fucking doing.
but that's the thing. Like, there was a lot needed just because of that for his character. But I do think that maybe once or twice they could have just gone with a generic... thing where they don't explain it and they leave it up to you to realize what's happening, and maybe then later something is involved in it.
I do think it's something to be cautious of because you see it's kind of becoming a trend in a lot of stuff of the very coolly breaking the fourth wall, not in like a Mel Brooks way for laughs, but like with House of Cards, Kevin Spacey, even if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you've heard like he turns to camera and like talks, for like 5 minutes at a time to the audience in his character.
Episode,
and I think that's becoming more of a thing.
Well, especially in the film Kick-Ass, for instance, where he is the narrator, and there's even one point in it where he's about to be. They're pouring gasoline on the guy. Spoiler for Kick-Ass. I'm not saying who or when, but there's a point where he says, like, so here I am. And for all of you saying, like, he's going to live because he's narrating, fuck you. What about American Beauty? It's like, no, I can be dead. And it's one of those things where, the narration was good for breaking the fourth wall to be able to bring you into the film. And, I guess I can't think of a specific narration that I would either take out or shorten or tone down or something, but I think it would have been an interesting choice to maybe take one or two of those out just to.
So I think a lot of the laughs came from those scenes, like or maybe not just laughs, but just amusing aspects.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, it's very difficult to tell because obviously it is its own thing now. So it's very difficult to tell, well, if I took that out and then went to see it for the first time, how would I would I feel, oh, that could have had narration on it?
Yeah, I feel like something's missing. Yeah.
I would be interested in seeing whether anyone else involved in the film, whether they would change it at all. Obviously, I would think that Scorsese had the final say with what went where. So clearly, this is what he.
Yeah, I think he's had like final cuts for like 30 years now or 40.
Yeah, I don't know. There are some people that can. Oh, is that film? Okay, this is.
He has enough pedigree in the business. Yeah.
Yeah. The obviously the only thing is they wanted to not be an NC-17 rated film, which I think at this day and age there shouldn't be anything. I mean, obviously there should be a line between pornographic film and R-rated film, but I do think that because I don't think that this film could ever really be considered as pornographic.
Well, I think the NC-17 needs to disappear. Like, you can warn people it's a strong R. You know, there are lots of graphic nudity or lots of drug use. Or
there's.
I mean, even they do them on the bands now. You know, they explain what is in.
Well,
the
exactly.
film.
There's that new trailer now at the beginning of the films where they show that okay, well, all of these films may have the same rating, but now we show why it is, so you can think about it. Well, get rid of NC-17 and just state on it this is exactly what's in here. So
don't be surprised if you didn't want to see a boob and now you've seen a boob. Oh, I didn't know. They didn't warn me. But I don't know. A rare thing that I noticed, there was actually a Red Band trailer.
Oh, nice.
At the beginning of this, which there are always Green Band trailers. I can't remember what the film was, which one it was, but
I've definitely been and seen other films that have had a Red Band trailer. I just can't. Oh, The Heat, actually. Me and my wife went to saw The Heat.
But I mean, you don't see it a lot,
So
I mean, I guess they figure, well, you're here to see a Martin Scorsese film. You're not going to be shocked if you see a little violence or whatever in a trailer. Violence or drug use in a trailer, oh well.
Yeah, it's...
You're about to watch 3 hours of it. So...
I know. Wow, I like that we ended up talking about an in-depth discussion about the rating system in America.
Yes, we get very political here. Yes.
All right. Well,
I mean, if you just want to watch the documentary, this film is not yet rated.
Oh, I have seen that. That is a great film. Yeah. I think I even recommended that.
I think you did, like one of the first episodes. But go check that out again. Yeah. Well, I think we're about done to wrap up. Do you?
I was going to say.
Oh yeah. Do you have anything else there?
Let's not make it as long as the film itself.
Oh yes. Because that is thoroughly much more entertaining than hearing us talk about a film for 3 hours.
Yes, unless you're my mother, in which case you might just be willing to give us a benefit out there. Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Paul's mom.
Alright, the only other thing I was going to say, but we don't have too much time, I think I'll bring it up again maybe next time we talk, which is that this was shot digitally and not on film. And I think that can be an interesting discussion we can have at a later date. So I will write that down and we can talk about it next time.
Hey, and no 3D version, so yay!
Alright, so I guess quickly then, what rating would you give?
What rating? I'm tempted to give it 1, but I think I want to give it the one that I think is going to stand the test of time better.
That's what I've done this time.
And I think I will do a minus 1.5.
All right. Wow. Okay.
Do you think that was going to go
I thought we were going to go a little...
I was thinking of a minus one, which is kind of how I feel about the film now. Yeah. But I think over the years it'll be a minus 1.5.
I was thinking myself of about a 1.5, and then thinking that as a body of work, maybe a minus 1 overall, because there's not much to it I can knock. Really, I was trying to think of it, and there's not much in it that I can really think is that bad. And the problem is going to be that it really is only for more of a niche audience until, let's say, 15 years down the line, when no one's going to care about the amount of nudity or swearing in the film, and then everyone can finally see this film without feeling that they come to see a high R film or something. So. But yeah, I'll stick with my -1 as my critique for the film, because it is a good film and Scorsese. So
and like I said, it's like I pointed out, I don't know if it necessarily has a lot of replay value, but for 3 hours you get to go along the ride, and I mean, most of us, a vast majority of us, are never going to live that lifestyle, so we get to enjoy that lifestyle vicariously through this character.
Right.
And it's why most of us go to the movies. This captures perfectly is just escapism, pure fun and entertainment. And that's, it's not a documentary. You're not being taught, so it's not cautionary. I mean, it could be viewed as a cautionary tale, but it's set out to entertain you. It's not Schindler's List. It's not where it's meant to educate you. And I think it delivers perfectly on that.
Oh yeah, definitely an entertaining film, and if it does then lead you to look up the actual guy that's doing it, then it can then serve as a history lesson as
or you decide not to take part in an insider trading scheme.
Because
federal prison doesn't sound that great to you anymore.
Yes, equally to entertain and war. There we go.
But I doubt that's going to stop you if you have that kind of drive and ambition.
True, yeah. If you're already doing it, you're not going to stop just
because Hollywood tells you to. Yeah. Yes.
I don't have any Netflix. Or anything
I have two real quick ones. I'm not even going to explain them too much because I know we're pressed on time.
Yeah.
The one is Maron. It's comedian Mark Maron's show on IFC, but it is on Netflix, and I binge watched them in about 12 hours, I think. And I think there's like 10 episodes. They're each like 22 minutes long, so you can watch them real fast. It's hilarious. It's kind of in the style of Louis, if you've heard of Louis, or even like Seinfeld, the earlier one, where it's he plays himself, but a heightened version of that.
Right.
Once again, going kind of back to Wolf of Wall Street.
Very absurd.
Yes, but it's maybe not all of the same things happen, but he does his podcast on the show, on the show, but it is very, very funny. And the other one, you may be very surprised to hear this one.
Okay.
A friend from work recommended to me is Attack on Titan.
I did that in Ender's Game. That is a fantastic show.
You recommended it in
yes,
that?
I did.
don't recall that. Okay, well, I'm so sorry, but that's...
No, it's
I've only seen like 4 episodes, and I still do not like anime, but I like the story. I really love the story.
Please keep watching it.
I'm sorry. See, when you just start with anime, I just kind of tune out. So I don't remember you saying that.
I'm now looking forward to getting your take on it.
Yes.
When you finished, I want to be able to talk to you about it.
Okay, and real quickly, I was remiss to mention this earlier. I did see the film with my great friend Ashley. Okay. You're welcome.
There you go. He's been hounding me non-stop about the fact that he's going to see this with Ashley, and then he doesn't mention it. And there we go. Now he's put it in.
All right.
I guess that's
it for me.
And that's it for me.
All right. Bye, folks.
Bye.